Well, hello everyone. We are so excited to have everyone here at our first ever curriculum webinar. We're so excited. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Andrew Santana, and I'm currently serving as your 2020 to 2021 CASL State President. And once again, we are so excited to have you here. So I know that we have people here from all over California. So please tell us where you're from by telling us your school. And if you're not from California, please tell us your state, because we're so excited to have people here all across the state. But for those of you who may not know, CASL stands for the California Association of Student Leaders, and CASL trains and equips leadership's organization all across California. And so we do this through many different various ways. So we go through LDDs, which are leadership development days, and we even have our 3-day CASL State Conference that comes up within each year. And so we're just so excited again to have you here. I'm going to go ahead and get off this live, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Isha Chander.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction, Andrew. We're really excited to be here today. And I just kind of like to start off by saying it's just been such a privilege to work with such a dedicated, resilient, forward-thinking group of individuals to create this CASL Curriculum Resource Pack. So as Andrew said, my name is Isha Chander, and I am the lead of the CASL Curriculum Committee, and I'm also Northern Director on the board. And a little bit more about me, I hail from San Jose, California, which is about 40 minutes south of San Francisco. I go to Branham High School and I serve as the ASB president there. And I'm also a community leader in my community, and just all around very passionate about leadership. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Kellen Bynes, who is another member of our committee.
Thank you so much, Isha. Hi, everyone. My name is Kellen Bynes, and I am a CASL Southern Director here on the CASL State Board. I live down in San Diego, California, and attend San Marcos High School. At San Marcos High School, I'm involved in ASB, so I'm the junior class president there. I'm also involved in Black Student Union, and I'm also the co-lead for our No Place for Hate committee. And now I'm passing it off to Sophie.
Thanks, Kellen. Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie Wine. I am a Southern Director on the CASL State Board. I come from San Diego, California, and I go to Francis Parker School. There, I am my school's awareness director, so everything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm also a Girl Scout and a national delegate.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ernie Padilla. I'm a senior at Santiago High School in Corona, where I'm involved in ASB and Key Club, and I'm a Southern Director on the CASL State Board.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isaiah Rivera. I serve as a Northern Director on the CASL State Board, as well as the sophomore class president at Patterson High School. Along with ASB and CASL, when we were in school, I worked with kinder through fifth graders at a local elementary school's after-school program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Chander. I am the senior class president at Westview High School in San Diego, California. I'm also a media director on the CASL State Board, and I am the media liaison for the curriculum committee. And so my job through creating these curriculum packs has been a little bit different than everyone else's. I've actually been formatting and designing the packs. But yeah, so it's been super fun and a great experience. Back to you, Isha.
Yeah, so that is our CASL curriculum team. We're really excited to be with you here all tonight. And speaking of formatting the pack, Brian actually did format our curriculum pack. So I'm going to ask him to share his screen right now and show you kind of what the pack looks like. And we're going to kind of explain the reasoning behind why we made it and just a little bit more information about it so you know where to access it. So yeah, this is our first CASL curriculum pack, and that is a very exciting endeavor that we had the honor to undertake. And this is our first CASL year-round curriculum committee as well. And obviously those are very exciting prospects, very exciting things, but they're also things that took a lot of navigating and trailblazing. And especially with our given situation, our committee really wanted to dedicate ourselves to providing continual resources for student leaders and advisors that can adhere and, keep up to date with current contexts that are going on for advisors and student leaders. So because of that, we started this program of bi-monthly curriculum releases to provide our constituency with some compiled information and ideas for distance learning for now, but whatever challenges or events may lie ahead, we'll be here and ready to equip you with the skills that you need to really tackle those events to the best of your ability and serve your campuses to the best of your ability.
Yeah, so with this pack, we focused on virtualizing your leadership program. So in the pack, we have 3 main sections: building support and spirit, school recognition, and club connection virtualizing edition. So for the first section, building support and spirit, we discuss ways on where you can build support and spirit for your campuses. Throughout the pack, we have margin notes, which tackle president notes and advisor notes, little tips and tricks for your teachers, advisors, principals, presidents, to make ASB program and as well as your school more leadership friendly. Additionally, we have critical questions. So there's about 5 to 8 questions for each section, which are designed to create discussions on your campus. So advisors, we recommend when you open this pack to ask those questions to your ASB leadership program to get some discussions and brainstorming sessions going on in your campus. And I'm passing it off.
So from what you can see, this pack, it's about 25 pages long and you can access it for free. I think that's the best part at caslboard.com/curriculum. And so now we're going to open up to a Q&A session. And so this is anything about the packs, the process, or the content. And so now I'd like to pass it off to our beloved advisor, Sandy.
Thanks. It's so fun to join all of you. Make sure that everyone drops their questions over in the chat, and our IT person will pass them on over. So the first question is from Tanner, and he wants to know what everyone's favorite section of the pack is. And you all can't just say the section that you wrote also. I'm going to start off with Isaiah.
Thanks, Sandy. So I would say my favorite part in the pack would definitely be the idea of creating a virtual wellness center. Lots of students don't really have that support. They don't have an ASB advisor any ASB student can go to, or a band teacher a band student can go to. I know before ASB, I didn't really have that support. And if I was at home right now, not having anyone, I'm pretty sure I would be struggling. So creating a virtual wellness center is an amazing way to give students the support they need. Your ASB class, or if you have a NAMI club on campus, they can create a Google site and be responsible for compiling different mental health resources. And in this pack, CASL has done just that for you. We have listed different self-care activities and support numbers, mental health apps, uplifting Instagram pages, and a virtual wellness center example that Irvington High did. So take that idea, have your ASB class, make it their own, and it'll be an amazing resources for students to use.
I love that. And the Instagram pages, are those clickable links in the packet also?
Yes, they are.
Perfect. That's so cool. There's a ton of research on that. And we all know that mental health awareness is a really big thing right now in schools. So I love that you incorporated that. Okay, I'm going to go up next with Isha. What's your favorite part?
I was muted, I'm so sorry. But yeah, of course, my favorite part of the pack would probably have to be the Makers Week section, which is part of our student recognition part of the pack. And the reason I really, really love this section is because it's something I helped develop. So it's really personal to me and a really cool concept for me. And Makers Week is essentially something where you highlight different types of creators and makers on your campus and really work to give them opportunities to showcase their talent. So as you'll see on the right-hand column right here on this page, there are opportunities for performing arts students, digital, art students that like to create builds and video games. There are opportunities for just artists that create things with paper or music or anything like that. And I think it's a really, really cool opportunity to really bring in a bunch of different populations on your campus and work to serve them and work on your outreach and connect people, especially during this time, and recognize their talents. And that's something we focus a lot on in the curriculum pack.
Yeah, I noticed the digital day one, Isha, which I thought was super cool. Can you explain the digital day one a little bit?
Yeah, so this week can really be tailored to however it works best for your school. But specifically in the digital day section, some things that we're really looking at and some things that we've suggested that schools can kind of take in their stride when planning this is really incorporating the interests of students that play video games. So we all know that students love to build things on Minecraft and The Sims and have their Animal Crossing villages. So this really gives students an opportunity to showcase those kinds of things and maybe even compete in competitions like Minecraft build competitions or Sims build competitions and try to really, take those competitions and use it to boost spirit and boost morale. So that's just one of the things that you can incorporate with that day.
I love that one. Ernie, what's your favorite part?
Yeah, so as both a club officer and a member of ASB, I think my favorite section would have to be the Clubs Gone Virtual section. because not only is it really great to hear ideas from an ASB standpoint on how to get your clubs connected and stay involved with one another, but it's also really cool as a club officer to find new ways to promote my club and allow other students to know what we do and how they can get involved and when our first meeting is, and really just know what the purpose of our club is.
Thanks. Sorry, I'm also trying to read the questions as they come up in the chat. I love that I read that you guys used Flipgrid for Club Brush. Can you talk about that a little bit, Ernie?
Yeah, so Flipgrid is really great because students have the opportunity to upload a video of themselves and explain about their clubs. And they really have the creativity and the freedom to do whatever they want. So if clubs wanted to, let's say, create a little video and like edit it, and they can upload it on Flipgrid, or they can just have a little informational video. It's really up to the clubs, and they can do whatever they want with it.
It's a great idea. Brian, besides formatting it, what was your favorite part?
I think my favorite part is actually on the same page, and it's one of our smaller pop-ups that we have throughout the pack, and that would be the school-wide representation pop-up. And the reason why I think this is such a important section is because it really it goes to help the question of how every group on campus can be represented. And so school-wide representation, the way we described it is it's really student senate taken to another level. And instead of just having any student from your campus being on your student senate, it's club presidents, it's athletes, it's student leaders that aren't in ASB that are able to help ASB in engaging and putting advice in on things like any events ASB puts on or any social media posts they put out, anything like that. This group can meet once or twice a month and really help your ASB out.
Love it. Representation and togetherness there. That's awesome. Sophie, what's your favorite part?
So this is actually such a cool section. I loved reading about it. So if you go to like page 21, Brian, Service put together these 4 amazing little events that you and your school can do. My favorite one in particular are these free libraries. I always see them around like my neighborhood and like in San Diego, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do one of those. But what's really great is they give you the 4 steps needed to actually create those. If you look at step 1, I did not know there were legal precautions. So that was really interesting to read. And so, yeah, I have a nice little spot in my front yard, and I'm really excited to do that.
I know I get so excited when I see these. Whenever I travel, even international, these are all over the place. They're so cool. One of the other things I loved in that also section about community engagement is the pen pal part that's underneath. It was just the best idea is to create pen pals for the homeless shelters and centers for youth. I thought that was a brilliant idea, especially in this time of COVID. It's a perfect time to be a pen pal to someone. And what better way than a homeless center for the youth? That was awesome too. My favorite part, the whole section that I love, and I'm sure it has something to do with I'm a history teacher and I love culture, but the part in there about cultures and connecting, I thought was just amazing, because I feel like sometimes we don't do enough to be inclusive in there. And so one of the things that I really loved was when you said like how to connect different cultures. And I love that you challenge teachers of all people to say hello to the class in different languages. And in case you don't know, learning another language is very, very difficult. So I like that you started with one word, because we can all contribute a little bit. And since we know great leaders would never ask someone to do something they do themselves, we're going to say hello to our team of people that's out there, and maybe someone out there has one of these. Cool. So, Sophie, do you speak language?
I speak French, so I would say bonjour, or in the evening, bonsoir. And so, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Ernie, can you try?
Yeah, so I think a really fun language I like to say hello in is Japanese, and you say hello by saying konnichiwa.
Oh, great job. Kellen, do you speak another language?
I do not speak another language, but I have always thought American Sign Language was really, really interesting. I learned it back in 3rd grade, and although I forgot a lot of it, I will try to say hello.
Oh, great. I know I've always really wanted to learn sign language. And one time I did a speech in a debate class about sign language. And I thought, oh, it'd be so cool if I literally sign language the whole speech. And then by the end, all I could do was be like, thanks for listening. Because again, it's really hard to learn another language.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you got?
My favorite language out of these is Mandarin because it's such a complex and interesting language. And hello in Mandarin is actually ni hao.
Wow. Yeah, I had a student that spoke Mandarin, and I would love to listen to him talk to his parents on the phone in Mandarin all the time. Isaiah, do you want to? There's only a few left that you could maybe choose.
I'll try out Hebrew. So shalom.
Do you speak Hebrew, or you know that one?
No, I do not speak Hebrew, sadly.
This inspires you to maybe want to learn that. Isha, as our lead, what do you have?
So I've always really appreciated Swahili culture. So I'll go ahead and say Jumbo. But yeah, we were really, really ecstatic to make this section about cultural competency in our pack. And so we kind of just wanted to say, as CASL, as an organization, we really do stand for cultural competency and learning about other cultures more. So as a curriculum committee, I know we're very invested in learning more about cultures, and we definitely want to put it out there that, you know, saying hello in a different language, you can go even more in depth than that. Like, that is very surface level thing. And especially for advisors to really help your students feel like it's the most welcome that they could possibly feel in that environment, especially in online school. Really take time to learn more about their background and more about their heritage, because I know that will really help them feel accepted and not alienated in their position. So we give more ideas about how to learn about students' backgrounds in the cultural competency section of the curriculum pack. So be sure to check that out so you can get more information about how to become more culturally competent with your students.
Yes, my favorite part. We did a whole leadership development day curriculum on it because I love it so much. Speaking of being inclusive, Dylan put a question in the chat just now that says, who would bet from this? So anyone from the team can answer. Who would bet on this? Sure.
I was actually going to say, I think you cut out a little bit. I don't know if that was just for me, but could you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay now? Since my internet's slightly unstable. So the question was, who could benefit from the, it's a question that someone just put in the chat, Dylan. And it's funny because we were just talking about being inclusive in other cultures. Like, inclusivity also like includes obviously other groups on your campus as well. So who do you think would benefit from this curriculum?
Yeah, so I really think that this curriculum can adhere to any type of person that, or any type of leader that wants to read it. And actually, when we initially started creating this pack, we just created it for leadership advisors. But as we started to trailblaze this process of the curriculum packs, we realized that it would be much more beneficial to make it accessible to everyone, and every different person could draw some sort of meaning from it. And so with that, you know, as whenever you're cultivating a new thing for anything, there are a little bit of growing pains. But I think at the end of that process, you really do get something that blooms from adversity. And I think that thing for us has been the accessibility, where any person can really use the curriculum pack. And I don't know if Kellen has anything to add on to it, because I know he wanted to talk a little bit about this too.
Yeah, so as Isha said, although we did initially plan this for advisors and then switch it to more all of our readers and students, advisors, don't forget and don't stress, we did include you guys still. So in the margin notes, there are advisor specific notes as well as president specific notes just for you guys. We included QR codes where you guys can scan to different videos and links outside of the CASL curriculum pack to further educate and provide resources for you.
And so one of the other questions through, which I think is super interesting, is what was the problem? You know, I feel like a lot of times people think that they don't know what CASL does behind the scenes all the time. And so it's like, what happens at your meetings? How did this happen? So it's super that someone asked this question, which is again, like, how did the pack come to life and what was the process? Ernie, I'm gonna let you answer this one.
Yeah, so great question. And in order to create this pack, the curriculum committee, we kind of got together on Zoom and we really discussed what we thought the most important things were to include in this pack for a virtual leadership environment. And from there, we researched new topics and we really wanted to get new ideas that hadn't been done before by different campuses. And from there, we started to write our curriculum. And then Brian actually formatted the whole pack. So Brian, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so this pack, creating this pack was super interesting for me specifically. I am a media director, but I'm more focused on the video and cinematographic side of media. And so, I mean, formatting a 25-page document in Illustrator, it was not my forte before I started this. But really getting through it and getting my design down and starting it, and it has been just a great experience. And it's given me a lot of insight on things that I didn't even think that like I would be good at. Like I never thought I would be able to make something like this. So yeah, it was an awesome experience.
I know often the end product looks like a lovely thing that was just magically created, and it's really fun to hear the process of it and how you weren't really even that adept with in design. But you know, as you see the end product, you would never know that it looks so good. I love this next question. So, how did you feel during of creating the pack, and any challenges that you faced along the way? What do you got?
Yeah, so I kind of touched upon this one earlier, but for me, the biggest challenge was trying to find new content that I personally haven't used and that I know other schools hadn't used. But it really forced me to grow and find new opportunities and new topics that schools can use on their campus. And so not only did it help me grow, but I know it's going to help a lot of different campuses. So it was worth it in the end.
Isha, do you have some challenges along the way?
Yeah, so kind of like I said, it was our first time doing anything like this. So I think inevitably you do get some of those roadblocks and some of those stumbles along the way when you're trying to figure out how you want to really make this pack the best it can be and set a precedent for the future. So I think that really figuring out logistically how it was going to look and content-wise, just organizing all that content, I think was a little bit of a challenge for us, but definitely a highlight was how the pack did turn out because I think we landed at a really good spot that with a pack that just has so many resources covering different topics, but not too many topics, it really hones in on a few broad concepts and gives more specific and tangible action steps within those.
I feel like this is probably came from a student. It says, how can we gather support from the pack, from our class and or administration, if not always super supportive? Sophie, you want?
Yeah, I got this. So I hope James Lehman's on here from Washington, but when I was talking with him earlier, he was explaining how using your principal or your administration's love language can really go a far way in gaining that support. So if your school has a motto or a mission statement, I know mine does. And so when you're trying to create that change, you kind of need to compromise with them. And so using that language and connecting that to your idea kind of connects the dots for the administration to see like, oh, look, you know, they understand how this can benefit us. And so that's what I'm going to be doing to make some change about mental health and other social justice matters on my campus.
Right. James is a very wise man and is a band teacher and also in admin. So good mentor to have, Sophie, along the way. Were you going to add something?
Yeah, actually, additionally, right now our admin are open to hearing new ideas and activities that our student leaders want to see on campus, virtually, of course. Everything's getting canceled, moving back, pushed back. Please feel comfortable and confident with going to your admin. And I think they too want to get back to creating that sense of community and unification on their campuses, even if it's virtual. So if you have some new ideas in your campus and as a student leader, go up to them and like Sophie was saying, you know, be respectful and bring in the mission statement to really bring it back behind you. But your admin is there for you as well, and they really want to see the entire school succeed and get unified. Additionally, the CASL resource or the CASL committee service committee is releasing on September 20th an equity panel resource on how to create and go up to your admin with those deep steps on how to achieve an equity panel on your campus. So be on the lookout on our CASL Instagram at CASL Fan, as well as our CASL website to see and learn more about that as that comes.
And I love this question from Nasheen because it's so detailed. She said, how is this resource best used with ESB? Member of your ESB go through it and read it, or is it more of an executive team to read, digest, and trickle down the main information to the rest of everyone? So
Yeah, kind of touching upon what we talked about earlier with accessibility. It can really be anybody on your campus that's a student leader that is really interested in learning more and kind of taking on a new passion project, but they need a place to start. This pack is a great place to start for those kinds of people. But in addition, we also have created and tailored our pack specifically for executive teams or advisors. So on the left-hand column of the entire pack, you'll find notes that we have for advisors and presidents. That kind of explain more of the internal organization that goes into some of these, events and activities. And I saw in the chat we had a question earlier about how to really have conversations with our ASBs and with our leadership groups about these topics that we're talking about. So you'll also find that at the beginning of each broad section that we have a list of questions for any facilitator in your ASB, whether that be somebody on the executive board, the advisor, or just another communications leader on your campus. To really have that conversation with your ASB, we have a list of questions available for you that really dive deep into the why behind each of our broad topics. So to answer your question, TLDR, it's accessible for anybody, but there are added kind of notes and internal organization tips for the leader of the leaders on your campus.
Thanks. Hi, Jordan Sampson for saying hi. Hi, Jordan. This is from Jenny Joy, and she says, how can we access the curriculum pack?
So the curriculum pack is actually available on our CASL board website at www.caslboard.com/curriculum. And you can find it there. It's completely free and it's a PDF file. And yeah, so.
And on top, and I love this too, that like, are there future packs coming in the future? I like that question. Part I really like it says, can we suggest ideas for future packs? Which that's awesome.
Yes, so we want all of your guys' input. So we actually went ahead and created a CASL Curriculum Pack resource feedback form. So at the end of the pack, once you're done reading through it, there is a link to the feedback form where we ask all of your input with questions and polls to see where and how you felt about the pack, what you'd like to see in the future, as well as get your input for what topics we discuss in the future.
And I love this question. It's a little off topic, and I'm going to throw it out there to all of you anyway, because I love it. And it says, how do you suggest that we help educate our peers and create a safe space to talk about important conversations like Black Lives Matter in an online environment? So I'll let you digest that and I'll read it again. How do you suggest that we help educate our peers and create a safe space to talk about important conversations like Black Lives Matter in an online environment? Kellen, Ernie, I see you guys.
Yeah, so I love this question. So this is something that I've been discussing with my school. And I think one of the easiest and most efficient ways to do this is create an equity panel. And we have resources for that coming out soon. Our service committee has a resource pack for that coming out on September 20th. And I think that's the most efficient way because you can have students come together, speak about issues that are affecting them directly while educating other students. And if anything, have a day on social media where you go on live, explain it there, and just begin by having those uncomfortable conversations, because once you do that, everything else will fall into place.
And adding on to that, so as we said, it is coming out September 20th on how to create an equity panel, but if you can't wait, in the club section, we do discuss in a pop-out how we recommend when you start creating your clubs to bond your clubs with, if you have social justice clubs on your campus or cultural clubs on your campus, start grouping them together and start planning meetings with each other. So if you have a Black student union, an Asian student union, and Hispanic student union, combine them in one meeting together and have that open dialogue as the minorities on your campuses or the majorities, either way, having those discussions with those clubs internally first, and then planning and having the students who aren't really involved probably in ASB still feel like they have a voice to give their input and see change on their campus. So we recommend that, and that's in the club section.
Yeah, I love all that. Rashawn Davis, shout out to Rashawn Davis, who was on the webinar that I did with Kata with the racial diversity and things like that. And he's an administrator, and I love that he said, if you're going back to school right now and just diving into content like math and science and history, you're definitely missing some big pieces in what's going on in life right now from an administration. So I thought that was so brilliant. Let's see. This is a great question too from Jordan. Well, I don't know if this is from, it says, how do you suggest people take action after they read the curriculum packs? So that's an interesting question, which is really like, how do you go from reading this to actually taking action? Isaiah?
I would say definitely sit down with your ASB advisor, or if you have committees, or if you're in a class, if you have class officers, sit down with them, go in depth with each idea. If you want to print it out and highlight what you like or mark what you like, that way, once you start getting ideas of how to doing it, you can take it up to admin, you can take it up to your advisor, and you have a solid plan. So that'd be a perfect way.
And I think something else to note, going back, kind of following up with what Isaiah said, was that we actually have a section in the pack where we, in a margin, where we talk about really getting your whole ASB on board with things, engaging your whole ASB class. So it's not just your exec or your advisor choosing which of these events or ideas that you take on. It's really your whole ASB class being involved with those decisions.
And like we said, we did develop those critical questions at the beginning of each section, and those are designed to just be discussed as an ASB program altogether. So on your Zoom meetings, answer those questions and discuss them, and they're meant to have brainstorming sessions and creations of committees and next steps.
Yeah, I love that y'all touched on that, which was really the idea that I had a CASL president one time that said, like, it's the saying of like, it's lonely at the top. And I'm like, that's because you're doing everything. You know, like you forgot to take everybody along the journey. So it's not lonely at the top if you take everyone with you. So let everyone else like look at the pack too and come up with things. And so you, whoever you is, someone in your ASB, like should be taking everyone with you, not trying to do it all yourself. So when reading the pack, which kind of reminds me of this question, which is like, what's your favorite part? Let everyone choose their own favorite part out of the pack. Because when people are passionate about something, they definitely don't even realize that they're investing a lot of hours in this, which made me think of someone's question here. Oh, it was Mason's question. And it's interesting. Mason said, what made you focus on the specific topics that you did? Like, why did you choose those topics? That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. Yeah, so that was also a process for us because initially our table of contents did look like kind of different than it does right now. And as we were going through it, we said, okay, so based on what we've typed out, based on this long list of things that we typed out, how do we want to restructure this to really make it the most effective? So originally, like the building spirit and building support sections were a little like they were kind of separate. And then we were like, well, when you really think about it, spirit and support really go hand in hand. So we really need to be focusing on how we can support our students, but we need to make sure that we're entailing that idea of spirit along with that. So I don't know if anybody else wants to kind of expand on this question. But we kind of, yeah, Sophie, if you want to go ahead and expand on it.
Yeah, totally. So when we were making like the outline for these packs, we were originally like, I forget what our original one, but it was like accessibility. But then we realized, well, everyone has been having questions about like virtual events. So it's only fair that we do all of these events. And so originally it was going to be like how to do things internally within your ASB. And we're like, again, people have questions. So it became this entire thing within inside your ASB and then externally with your entire campus. It became such an amazing pack, and that's kind of how it grew. Let's just say that. It was a little seed, and then this beautiful flower that we call the September Curriculum Pack.
And I will say that there were some learning curves for Sophie and I as well. Our sleeping schedules were affected. We didn't plan on having Zoom calls until 11:45 at night, but they were definitely effective, and we don't regret them at all. We're so proud of this pack.
I feel like that's so typical of when you have passion for something, like it starts out as something and ends completely different, where like we made a lot of our social media posts about this before we finished it. And so our social media posts actually seemed different. And then when we looked back, we're like, oh, it's evolved so much that we actually need to change the title of it along the way. I feel like I cut somebody off who was starting.
Oh yeah, you're good. I was just gonna say something important to add also is during the process, we were doing something that at CASL we called being radically transparent. And so there was a lot of times where we would have an idea and it might not have been the strongest. So from there, we were radically transparent with one another, and it worked out for the best because our sections got better. And from there, we kind of specified on everything else, and it all fell into place after that. But the key was being radically transparent with one another.
Oh my gosh, Ernie, I love that. First, I love that you used the CASL lesson, and yes, like, it's all about being radically transparent if you want the end product to be good, you know, and it's just saying it in kind ways. I love that. One of the other questions in here, which is so interesting, is how can students learn how to do this YouTube live, like this one, for their events at school?
So if you want to stream a Zoom call to a YouTube live just like this, we have included that in our pack as well. So on page 5 of the curriculum pack in the margin notes, you'll find a QR code that you can just scan with your phone to a video that was made by our amazing adult advisor, Ryan. And in that video, he went in depth on the instructions to do just that.
Thank you. This is a great question for Darius, a little off topic, but I still love it, so feel free. Darius says, what are some conversations I should be having with my leadership groups on campus? So I'll say it again. What are some conversations I should be having with my leadership groups on campus? And I'm going to say from the student perspective, because it's Darius is asking.
Just I've seen a lot of like social justice related questions, so I'm just gonna start off and say, what has happened over the summer or quarantine if your school kind of got out early, and how are you going to address this as an ASB, and how are you going to notify your school and kind of go with that, because so like the issues of your student body should reflect what you pursue as an ASB. And yeah, whether that's like a panel, that's a summit, that's recognizing different cultures with different events, whatever that is, it's very important that your ASB acknowledges that and decides how it's going to go forward through the year, keeping in mind awareness and the correct linguistics to use and all of that.
Sophie, I think you have a really interesting position within your ASB. Can you just explain that for a second? Because I haven't heard of that a lot on ASBs.
Yeah, so I am my school's awareness director. So this is everything diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging related. We added the B this year for belonging. And so right now, I'll just kind of give you an idea of what we're doing right now. It didn't make into the curriculum packs, but we're doing these like live stories and bringing on kids from our school. So Hispanic Heritage Month starts September 15th through October 15th. And so I'm bringing on certain students, and then they're going to talk about what their culture is like, and how living, and then they're also gonna teach me how to make one of like a dish important to there's a plane right now, important to their culture. And we're gonna do this on Instagram Live, and just, if you've ever seen Anthony Bourdain, it's kind of a mix of that with a Food Network cooking show.
Wow, so interesting. Kellen, were you gonna address this about what conversations should they be having?
Yeah, to answer Darius's question, I was gonna add on and say, the leadership group should be talking about how we can get back to what it was like before, like pre-quarantine. But then Sylvia made a great point. Why would you want to go back after everything that's been going on during quarantine? Let's change and like make our ASB present an idea to our school that is new and transformative and current with the times that are going on. So that's a great point. I really do think that your programs should start thinking about how they can change and become more reflective of what's going on in society, and how you guys can support your community with that.
Yeah, I think it's my secret hope for ASBs that since the focus won't be on activities as much, like how cool to be able to spend this time focusing on leadership and really looking at the programs and making them different. I feel like it's a gift. I was talking to someone today who was very upset, and I said, I feel like COVID has just taken like a year of my life. And I was like, they've given you a year. They've given you this time, which is never going to be again, to stop, reflect, start again in a way that you wish you could. It's in, a lot of people have sacrificed a lot during this time. And for those of us who haven't really had to, like, you want it to be for a good cause. So take this time and reflect and really do some cool things. Somebody else had another question here for us. It was about, is there anything in the pack to help spirit days or clubs go virtual?
Yes, so we do have two sections regarding that, two full sections with about 5 pages each. So we do have the Clubs Connection Virtual Edition section, and we also have the Club Support and School Support and School Spirit section that handle both those activities and ideas and topics. We provide you with resources, activities you guys can do virtually, but also with some new ideas and some new things you can do on your campuses that you haven't done before.
Yeah, and kind of going off of what Kellen just said, we do have an entire broad topic dedicated to clubs. So definitely check that out if you're interested in virtualizing your clubs. And then as for the spirit dress up part of that section, something that we would really recommend is to work with different stakeholders on your campus and see how you can outreach to create effective things. Because when you really think about it, like, what is the why behind the spirit days? What is the why behind dress up days? It's really to unify your campus and connect your campus under a common identity. So I think a great place to start with that is your staff. And we do have a page in the pack that talks about how you can build support and recognition within your staff. And that's a great place to start if you're really trying to motivate your campus to kind of unite under that common identity. Because when teachers are passionate about something, it really motivates students to be passionate about it as well.
Hi, Shannon Hurtado is on here, and she is challenging us because I don't even have a good answer to this, so I'm going to let you guys answer it. Shannon wants to know, what are some other panels? What are some of the other panels that CASL hosts besides equity and curriculum? So Shannon obviously saw us do the equity one at camp, and she's seeing you do the curriculum one now. So I can tell you, Shannon, we actually don't have other panels, but I love that you asked it. So I'm going to put it to the group. Her question again was, what are some of the other panels that CASL hosts beyond equity and curriculum? And we don't right now, but I'm going to let you all chat about, like, if we wanted to create another panel about something, what would it be?
Yeah, thank you for that question. That's a very good one. And I think that as at CASL, we all have our own little committees, and I think we're very involved in those. But a lot of us have our own little passion projects. Like Sophie and I, we actually created one on mental health resources. So I think that, and we have other ones on the board as well. So I think that if we turn those passion projects into panels, and hearing that students want to hear more panels, it's really reassuring, because I know that I've personally thought about doing a mental health panel, and my school has even thought about this too. So yeah, we have a lot of passion projects, and we can turn those into panels, and one of which will potentially be mental health.
I know, again, that silver lining with CASL, what I said is, like, it's so cool because they all have so much more time now. As we're not traveling to area conferences, it's like, what are your passion projects? Question I should not have asked, because everyone now has an amazing passion project, which is so cool. So that's an idea. Was somebody else going to answer about what other panels do you think we could do?
Well, I wasn't going to answer specifically to this, but I was kind of building off of this question because CASL does provide lots of resources for student leaders and advisors to access at all times. So you can make sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date with all of that information. And Ryan, our tech person, if you could drop our handle in the chat, that would be great, so people can see it typed out. But we do provide a lot of resources for student leaders and advisors to access that aren't in a panel format necessarily. But we do like to keep up to date with curriculum and release statements about various leadership concepts. So you can also check out our website for that as well. And if you're really looking to access more leadership curriculum and more resources during this time, we also have resources from our state conference this past spring uploaded on that website, and then as well as resources from conferences before that. If you're really looking into ideas, I know we mentioned radical transparency. That's one that we have archived resources on as well for public access.
Okay, what I'm going to go ahead and pass it off, as I see other questions coming up. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to you, Isaiah, to like finish up the, like, where can they, a lot of people have asked, like, where can we access the pack? And I know that you guys are going to talk about that. So let's go ahead and talk about that now. Isaac, what do you got first?
Yeah, so I'll share with you guys what else CASL is up to. So our CASL board is made up of several committees, each working on their fantastic projects. Here in the curriculum committee, we've been in the process of creating this pack, and also in our research phase for our conference curriculum. But our board has also been putting together mental health resources. Service has been putting together an equity panel, like we talked about earlier. We've been preparing for elections, which is coming up right around the corner. I know we're all super excited about that. As well as a CASL Connect newsletter, and preparing for our 3-day virtual September board meeting. Now, I do have a special guest with me today, and this is our CASL buddy, Mahalo. And Mahalo is a part of our CASL tradition that we have here on the CASL board. Mahalo is given to our directors on the board who have made huge impacts on their leadership journey. So at every board meeting, we then hand off Mahalo to another CASL board member. So to finish things off, just make sure to stay updated with all things CASL. So follow at CASL Fan on all social media platforms. As of yesterday as well, we now have 2 Spotify playlists for our CASL delegates. So make sure to follow at CASL Fan there as well. And I'll now be handing it off to Kellen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Isaiah. And just to reiterate, to find the CASL Curriculum Pack resource, just type in www.caslboard.com/curriculum. So Ryan, can you put that into the chat, please? And that'd be really helpful for our delegates to click on. Additionally, we have decided that we're releasing our pack on November 4th. So again, please fill out the feedback form at the bottom of the pack to give your input on what you'd like to see in the future packs. And now I'm handing off to Isha.
Yeah, so just wanted to say, feel free to reach out to anybody on this panel. You can email us curriculum@caslboard.com and we'll all receive it, and we can hopefully talk more about leadership if you have any concerns or questions. And we're also, down to receive feedback about what we can do for future packs. Just like Kellen said, you can fill out that form and we can figure out how it's going to look content-wise and logistically. And just wanted to extend a big shout out of gratitude to everyone who has come to attend this panel and just been so diligent. I saw some people in the chat that are saying they're taking notes, so big snaps to that. So I just wanted to say thank you and much CASL love. We hope to see you around the virtual world sometime soon in the future, but for now, we hope you enjoy our CASL Curriculum Pack. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.